Sarah Boisai, we are in Zevachim Daf Pevav, starting the Mishnah Daf Pehem with base. Zok the Mishnah. Be'elu im olu yerdu. The following things, if they were oile, they were yoyret. Meaning, if they were on the Mizbeach, you bring them down. Bosa kochu kadoshu, bosa kochu kalim. The meat itself, kochu kadoshu, kochu kalim, not supposed to go on the Mizbeach, right? It's supposed to be eaten. So one of them is back, you bring it down. Umoisar ha'oimer, the leftover of the oimer also. What do you do with the leftover of the oimer? What is the korban? The korban oimer is you bring the oimer to Beis Hamikdash. You take the mincha, you take take the korban, you put it on his back. After it goes on his back, and the rest is eaten. You don't put it on his back. It's part of what's supposed to be eaten. Vishtei alechem, the two breads. When do we bring two breads? No, that's a chapon. Shtei alechem. When do we bring shtei alechem? Shmuel is very good. Shtei alechem. Do we? What happens to shtei alechem? Which part goes on his back? Which part of shtei alechem goes on his back? Very good. None of them. None goes on his back. The only thing goes on his back. He knew it. He knew it. He knew it. What goes on his back is only the levoina. Levoina is the spice. Shtei alechem itself doesn't go on his back. Well, then, what? He's eating. Eat it. Eat it. You bring shtei kvasim. You bring two sheep. You shech the shtei kvasim, and then the shtei alechem is eaten. Lechem upon him as well. You don't eat. You eat it. The shiyore minachas. All the leftovers of a mincha. You put the kmitza. Kmitza again is the middle three fingers. Put it on the mizbeach. The shirayim. You eat. The ktoris. Ktoris also. Ktoris is not eaten. Not necessarily eaten. Not necessarily. But you don't put it on the mizbeach. So what is it? What Ktoris referring to? Rashi says you don't put it on the mizbeach achitzon. I mean, we're talking about here the outside mizbeach. The Ktoris is done in the mizbeach, on the outside. That semer sheberosh kvasim, the wool which is in the head of the kvasim. Rashi explains here, a little complicated. Not complicated. Explains why are we talking about the head, the wool in the head. I think it's just in general the wool. So because it's really referencing something else. When we talked about the head of the kvasim was cut off, you should know it still goes to the mizbeach, but the wool does not. So the wool in general should not be going on the mizbeach. Beseah shebskant yoshim. Similarly, the beard of the goats doesn't go on the mizbeach. That is the bones. Yeah, the goatee, exactly. That's what's called the goatee. That is deep. That is the bones. That gidim the sinews. Karnaim is the horns. That lafaim, which are the hooves. When it's connected, it goes in his back. It's connected. Once it goes out, you don't put it on his back. It says you put it on his back, only basar v'dom, only meat and blood, not the horns, not the bones, not anything else. So connect it, put it on, not put it on. As we mentioned yesterday, just to chazer briefly on the word that we said yesterday, the Shaila, the Ramban asks that in Akedah, it says the horn of the ayil is remained for one side for Bar the Sinner, the other one for Mashiach. Says the Ramban, what do you mean? He has to put everything on his back. The Gemara just says we'll put it on his back. So says the Rebbe Mizrachi, no, like the second part of the Mishnah was cut off. Cut off, you don't put it on his back. Says the Gurai, it doesn't make sense because then it's not Kaddish. The whole Gedusha is because you put it on the Mizbeach. So it has to be one of the Mizbeach. So that's the question of the Ramban. What happened? Why the horns? How do you use the horns? What? No, so we probably say three answers. Yeah. So, one answer, the simple answer of Ramban is that it became ashes, because both recreated it, which maybe connects the answer of the Maharal, which is not an actual physical. We're talking about the conceptual idea of the horn, not the actual horn. One more thing over here is that the Tiferet Shloimeh, is everybody goes to this Mishnah, right? Tiferet Shloimeh Domsky says, what do you see over here? The bones don't belong to the Mizbeach. The horns don't belong to the Mizbeach. But when they're connected to the meat, you put them on the Mizbeach. Sometimes there's some yidden that don't belong. But if they're connected to a tzaddik, then they all go up together. They have to be connected. If you're connected, you go up. Talking about Tony Abba, very good. Tony Abba, the Kira Koyanis, Ekolomis Beichel, the rabbis, he put everything on his back. Rabbis at summers, the bones, the gidding, the sinews, the canine, the horns, the tlafayim, the hooves. Yaakov feel pirish. Could it be even if it was disconnected? So we learn about Sisra Secha Basar Adam, Nafka Basar Adam, the meat and blood. He Basar Adam is Basar Adam. So when people with Aleph, Yaakov Yachlot's gidding that summers, the Ale Abbas comes back. Can I take away the sinews and bones? Maybe I'll remove it. I'll take it out and put it in his back. So I have a stira. Should I put it out? As long as it's connected, yalo. Pirushu afilim bereishim mizbeach, even the top of mizbeach, here you put it down. Man shamas the shamas the doma pirushu yerdu. Who's one that says that if it was removed, it was disconnected from the carbon, then you take it down? Someone's Rebbe, Shita's Rebbe. Titanyo viktir hakoyen is hakoyen. But this rice is going to bring us a machlekes. Not everyone agreed with the sheet of Rebbe. We're going now. Our mission is going like Rebbe. Rebbe wrote the Mishnah, it goes to the Shita site. That what? That if it's connected, it goes to the Mizbeach. If it's disconnected, you don't put it in the Mizbeach. Says the Bride says like this. Viktir hakoyen is hakoyen la Mizbeach. Put everything on the Mizbeach. The robbers, including Atzomo's bones, Gidim, sinews, karnayim, horns, Safayim, hooves. I feel the pirushu. When this one holds, everything goes to his back. It says only meat and blood. Once it's on his back and it's being burned, that's what you mentioned yesterday. From that other one was not going to be named. So the ikule, once it's being consumed by the fire, so then it falls off. Happens it falls off. Do you bring it back in or not? Boss, so yes. At some points, you should put it in the fire. But after it's burned, just let it go. If it fell off, you leave it out. Rabbi Yoimer says no. Everything rebo. Which is only blood and meat. That's a mute. If it's connected, put it on his back. If it's separate, it goes very good. Says the Gemara Pishul. So that's what he says. Machlokes Tanakama and Rebbe. According to the Kama, you do put the horns on the mizbech. Just if it fell off, you don't put it back. Pishul Yalum, as the Mishnah said, according to Rebbe, if it's disconnected, you don't put it on mizbech. Amar Bzeiro Loishonu Elishipushu Klape Mat, which means what's Pishul Shabbat means? You have the animal and you bring it to the mizbech. And then some of the parts of the mizbeach fall away. No, the limbs. They're getting it falling away. You don't go bring it back. But if a part, let's say the horn, fell off of the animal towards the fire, stay closer to the fire, so then is towards the fire, it's closer to that filopish, even if it's disconnected, you put it on mizbeach. He's getting closer. He's getting close to the fire. It shows it belongs to the fire. Omar Rabba, he says a little differently. Meaning, if it came out after Zriko, so what do we say? You don't put it on the mizbech. But even though you don't put it on his back, can I use it? No. Why? It's Kaddish. As a Kedusha. I'm not allowed to use it. I'm not putting it on his back. It's basically going to be something that's going to be unusable. It's not being consumed by the carbon, and it's not being used. That's only after Zriko. So I threw the blood, I made the whole carbon Kaddish. Now we say you put the carbon on his back, the parts that's connected stay, the parts that are disconnected, they were connected. So they have some Kedusha. Go back to the first Shleimer. They were connected, but they fell off. So they have something you have the Kedusha. I think you have to burn it. That was bad. That is part of the carbon. No, not Tomei. Just you don't put it on the fire. We said anytime the horn is disconnected from the body, you don't put it on the mizbech. If it gets closer, so there's a mandama that says you put it in the, you do put it in the mizbech. That's right. That's the good. Now the one says something else. Close. Gets it close. Yeah, exactly. But here you're going forward, it gives you further. Now here goes says, what happens if he fell before Zriko? Before he even threw the blood, already the horn fell off. So then the din is that one is used, there's no Kedusha at all. Says it Mandama. This Zriko makes a Kaddish. I'll take that and I can use it for a hata. The sakina means the handle of a knife. It's I can use it for my own, I can use it for the kitchen. I feel very good in the sakina, right? You go in our kitchen, I'll come, you say, you see this beautiful knife? The handle, it was a carbon. It was a carbon. Someone look at Rabbi Yechezkel as Rabbi Yechezkel, Rabbi Shmuel, Ne'emar, lo yeh be'oilo, v'ne'emar lo yeh be'osham. It says lo yeh means will be for him, will be for the kohen, It says by Yoel, it says by Asham. Ma'asham at Smoisa Mutarim. By Asham, the bones are mutar because you don't put the meat on his back. By Asham, you put only the fat. Asham, the only thing you put everything on his back is what? The oil. Half oil, it says mutar. Also by oil, there's that. When it fell before his rika. So the Gemara mufni, you have to say it's mufni. Mufni means that the Yeshiva words are extra. Because if they're not extra, remember, the rule is in general, there's details to it, but let's go into just the concept. If I have a Yeshiva, I have a question in the Yeshiva, so I can slug up the Yeshiva if there's no extra words. But if it's extra words, I can't slug it up. I have a discussion, mufni mishteis, tzadech, has to be extra words on both sides, only one side. But the word now says is mufni has to be extra words. Why? Here the mufni kalif, I can ask you a question. By Asham, what do you do with the meat? You eat it. Kohen eats it. What do you do with the meat of Oila? It goes to the Mizbeach. So how can you compare the two? So the more you write, lo yeh yesei ruksiv. It says actually lo yeh. To tell you the Kohen has it. To tell you that sometimes that even the bones of the Oila will belong to the Kohen. When is that? Fozo when? Before his rika. Says the Gemara Meisir Ado Baravo Atzos Kotchin Vezriko Moyalim Behem. Says the complete opposite of what we just said. Before his rika, as Kedusha, as some Kedusha, because the animal was kosher to begin with. Okay, the animal was kosher to begin with. Meaning, and we'll address that in one moment, what's bothering you. But before his rika, that made him start the process. It has meal, you can't touch it. The After's Rika ain't violent. After's Rika, then now it became mutter. So then there's no meal. That's regular term. There's always a meal, even after Rika. Right? So the thing is, there's going to be a meal before and after. And now use before. Here it says if it fell off, the first one said it fell before. No kedusha. After maybe that. He was saying regular korban is the opposite. Before it's also after the motor. No, it's always the same. Aim of a shiloilo, so you have to fix it. If it fell out before his rika, there's no meila. After his rika, there's meila because it became kaddish to his rika. So that's what it is. So we get to fix the losh of the price. So so the thing is like this. There's a difference between Kodesh Kadashim and Kodesh Kalim. Kodesh Kalim is really not, we saw it earlier, it was yesterday's daf. The Kodesh Kalim, the light of Kedusha, they become Kadosh when you start the process of the Aktar. Because before that, it belonged to the owner. So you put the blood on the Mizbeach, he started the process, then it becomes Kadosh. Before that, very simply holds, he can do whatever he wants with the animal itself. Oyel is a Kodesh Kadashim. Kodesh Kadashim had Kedusha before. But you see here in the Gemara, there's two stages of Kedusha. There's a Kedusha, it was Kaddish. A person came, took the animal, says, this animal, I'm giving you oil to make some Mikdash. Kaddish. Kedusha is a goof. Then there's another stage of Kedusha that became the process start. Someone just told me the Shabbos, that's in brisk. That's your son. The lotion they say is that it started, I think it's called the Ma'aseh Ketara. I mean, you have a stage, it's Kaddish, but we didn't start the process. Stage 2, you start the process. So the Gemara now is understanding, and the Gemara in the question wants to say, and we'll see in a moment someone argues, that by Allah, once you start the process, till now we're saying, it's Kaddish, but whatever doesn't belong, it gets out. Once you start the process, so then what happens? Then it elevates to a new stage, I can't do anything. I want to ask the question, let's see now the other shito, Pligada Blazer, Blazer argues, if it came out after Zriko, there is Me'ilah. It's also. If we said wrong. He says the exact opposite. Meaning, he says that before Zrika, the Kedusha is a goof. In fact, once I start the process, so now I come and differentiate. There are the ones which is the main carbon, is the one which is not the main carbon. The main carbon is the meat, it's the blood, that's the main carbon. The bones, the sinews, the horns, they're not the main carbon. But when can I differentiate that? Only once I start the process. Stage 1, it's all Kaddish and Kedusha. So the logic is, I start the process, what happens now? Because I start the process, now it elevated. Now it's you can't get out, too late. Or the opposite. When I start the process, now I know the difference. Once I start the process, I'm throwing the blood, I'm starting to put it in his back. I see this is blood, this is meat. I'm starting to differentiate between the different items of the animal. When the animal is one big intact animal, it says one kedusha. So what is this two opposite sheets? One sheet holds before the zrika, before the process. So right now, the bones, horns, they're part of the animal, they go on his back, not part of the animal, it's no kedusha at all. It's out. Once you start the process with everything together, they all have a kedusha. Hartman says the exact opposite. Before that, it's one big animal, they're all kaddish. Once you start the process, now differentiating, and now if it falls off, it's domeila only midiraban. Abundant, according to here, he says, loy nani v'loy ma'ali means domeila. But you're not allowed to enjoy with the that's a klal, it's a rule always in culture. When it says loy nani v'loy ma'ali, it means it's in there. Okay, so the Mishnah. Bekulam shepoku me'alam is back. What's kulam? All the psulim that we mentioned until now, if they were spit out of the mizbeach, they fell on his back. Lo yachz, you don't bring it back. So if it's the oil, that's what we said before. If it's the actual basar and it's spit out, bring it back. We said earlier that if it's ketayris, you don't bring it back. If it's a psul, if it's spit out of his back, you don't bring it back. Psulim, because we just this is the parak starts. Mizbeach v'kadosh at the loy, meaning all the psulim. Talk about the psulim. Kol shabakol b'algam mizbeach lo yachz. V'chen. Right. Once. Yeah. But it fell off exactly. So if they fell on lo yachz, Rashi says clearly. And the fire already started, they caught it the fire. You don't bring the Yechezkel shepokam is back. You have a coal, piece of coal. The fell out of his back, lo yachs, don't bring it back. If you have limbs, now here comes the limbs, regular limbs. So here we have the difference like this. Before after chatzos alaylo, lo yachs, don't bring it back. There's no meila. Once you eat chatzos, the process is done. So I don't have meal is only as long as the process is going. I'm done with the process. I don't bring it back. So that's but before chatzos, you do bring it back, and there's still meat. The shame the Mishnah concludes says the same with the mizbeach does kedusha to anything that's on it. Also the ram. Anything on the ram becomes kaddish as well. Ram is also kaddish. The same with the mizbeach and the ram becomes kedusha. And the roy lamb kach hakelim mekadosh. The kalim, the vessels, anything goes into a kli has a kedusha. The kli is mekadosh. What? It has to be something that, like we said, no, certain level of psulim. We said before, the Revei Nirba is a psul and that. Things that are psul, which happen in the Kodesh, so then you can do, right? Yeah, I hear. But you see the vessel, if you have the right vessel, it becomes Kodesh. Once you have the right vessel, there's also specific to speak about. You have to at least have the right, at least the right, you try to have the right vessel. So you come properly, you come daven, you get dressed like a mensch. The right vessel. I don't know if I'm completely there in my mind, but at least the vessel should be there. The kalim, the kachmas, should really look. I'm saying, but he put in there something possible that goes Kodesh because the Kli. Soul that goes into the Kli becomes Kodesh. Says the Gemara, what's the case? If we're talking about the limbs that fell off his belly, we're going to focusing on the limbs. What's going on? What's the story? Are these limbs actually still have meat on them? I mean, they're still intact. I feel like it's not me. You say, bring it back up. After chatzos now, what do you mean? If it's a limb is a limb, you have to bring it back on his back. So call Laila. You do it to go call Laila. What? Yeah. Eat the lace with mamish. If there's nothing there, it's already burned. After the koyim chatzos nami. What's this idea of chatzos? Says the Gemara something. This is loy tzricha. We're talking about beshriri. What is shriri? Says Rashi. We talk people on the base at the top. We talk about koshim. Sheniskashu machlasei. She became very hard. She sholto bekulu v'nisu. What did burn? El sheloi nasu peichel. They didn't become ashes. They didn't become coal. El ke'etzim yeveshim yemisoichel. They're very dry. So if it's this dryness of the meat, so then if it's before chatzos, bring it back in. Because after chatzos, you don't. Minani mil. How do you know that? Says the Gemara, Marav Kosovecha Doimer Kol Halaylo V'Hikti. The pasuk says in the beginning of Parshat Tzav, Tzav is Aroy V'Ezbonov Lemor Dois Torah Sa'oilo. Right? Is this Torah Sa'oilo? Hiya Oilo Al Moigdo Al Mizbeach Kol Halayla Ad Aboy Kevesh Beach Tukut Boy. And it says over there, it says Kol Halaylo V'Avash HaKoy in the next pasuk. Midur Ba'ad Amikas Ebad Ad Soy V'Im Seged Shechad Eish Al Mizbeach. There's some way so he's back. No, were you looking for the Lashon Hiktir? Rashi says, sorry, I was looking for the Lashon Hiktir. Rashi says, because it says, on the fire on the Mizbeach. That's the Lashon. Al Moigdal al Mizbeach, on the fire on the Mizbeach. So, Bashawad, you're putting it on the Mizbeach. Kol Ailo, even during the later at night. Kosovecha Doimer, Kol Alaylo V'Hirim. Now, there's another, the same pasuk is Kol Alaylo. But then it says in the next pasuk, the here was Sadesh, I think the Desh is the dirt. So on one hand, it says the entire night I put stuff on his back. On the other hand, it says the whole night I remove stuff on his back. So what is it? Putting in or removing? Says the Gemara, you divide it. What do I do when I have the problem? I split it. And it's always a good compromise. So do you put it on his back or you move his back? Answer is split. Half of the night you put, half of the night you take it out. Strange compromise. Agree? So, right. So, right.
Why do we need
Twice, if you look at there's a long case here on the right, it says what's explained, it doesn't actually remove from his back. Remove from his back. What you're doing is you're putting it on the tapuach. You know what the tapuach? You know what tapuach is? Tapuach is the middle of the mizbeach. There's we put all the ashes, the dirt in the middle of the mizbeach. The mizbeach. So when you have the ivarim that are burned, the shriri, they become hard. What do you do with them? You don't remove them from the mizbeach, but you put them into that middle mount where you put all the things that are burnt. So it says over here, it says that's what Tez wants to say. You see the last text on the right? Ari to encourage us to learn the thesis. So he says, Meisel Kano. I have a problem with it. Meisel Kano b'chol yoim toyim u'samizbeach. What's toyim? Toyim here is Trubas Hadeshin. What is Trubas Hadeshin? Clean it out. On the mizbeach, there's dirt, ashes, there's limbs, there's burning. It's crazy. So what do you do? In the first avoid of the morning, what is it? Truma Sadeshin. What's Truma Sadeshin? So there's two parts. There's Truma Sadeshin and there's Hoitzah Sadeshin. Truma Sadeshin is you take a small piece of the Sadeshin, go down the ramp, make a right, go on the floor next to the kedesh, and you put that little piece of dirt on the floor. It's called Truma Sadeshin. It's like a Truma. What's a Truma always? Truma, I take Truma for fruits. A small piece, and the rest is okay. I take a small piece, I put it next to it, I put it there, and you know what happens? There's a nace, it gets swallowed in the ground. Yeah, the Truma Sadeshin. Now, every day, every single day.
Ground, just like or it's a basic
The big Dutch flooring was, I think, marble. Yeah.
It's not like dirt, okay.
Yeah, it's marble. Marble. Nace.
Nace, like
what?
That's
called, no, that's something that's basically, so now what do you do with the rest of the deshin? What do you do with the rest of the dirt? Basically, what you do is you take it out of the back, right, and you walk outside the Beis Hamikdash to a place called Beis Hadeshen, and that's where you put it.
What was the bird?
That's not called Beis Hadeshen. It's called that's where you put Beis Hadeshen. I forgot what his name. Maybe he didn't call his name. Maybe you're right. He called his name.
Yeah, something, but didn't set up the bird. Outside the
That, I don't think it's true as a dash. I don't think it was a dash. That's something else. Right. In order to take the dash, I have to do true as a dash. If true as a dash, then I can remove the dirt. So, yes, the local chef. It's called chef. Sorry, chef kadesh. Chef kadesh. Chef kadesh is outside by English. That's where you put that dirt. The whole dash. So now, what's the thing? In order to take out the dirt, I need to start with true as a dash. Why do I do true as a dash? So the Gemara now brought us a pasuk half the night, half the other night. I think, well, 1 second. Let's see. Says the Gemara, base of Kano, the whole yom every day, Toyrim is Samizbeach, Mikrois Hagever, or Samuchlo, Milfono, Meachoro. What is Krois together? No, Krois together. Krois together. So the Gemara brings the stuff and talk about the Gemara concludes to talk about there was a veker. And Beis Hamikdash, there was a guy who woke up the guys. And they started early. It was before at least a shachar. Like at 4 o'clock in the morning, it was this guy that woke everybody up. He's called together. So right before Christ together, before or after, they would do True Sadeshik. True Sadeshik got to get up a little bit earlier. They got that True Sadeshik. It was done every day when? In the morning, meaning before dawn, before at least a shachar. That's the regular time to a Sadesh. When it comes to Kippur, the Chatzois. They do it in Chatzois. Why do it in Chatzois to Kippur? Because the Kohen Gadol has a huge, it's a very crazy day for us. Want to start early. The Tais brings here a very interesting discussion. The discussion is, who did Shua Sadesh? Was the Kohen Gadol or not? Tais brings the Machlekes. Was the Kohen Gadol or not? No, in Yom Kippur. Was it? No, I mean, for sure not. But Yom Kippur, wasn't the Kohen Gadol part of Yom Kippur? And that's why he did it early? Or it wasn't, but they said he wanted just to start the day early. So someone did it. There's 2 brings over here. As I was going to say in a moment. Very Golim, what do you do in the regular? Regular talk about Pesach, Shavuos, Sukkot. What happened Pesach, Shavuos, Sukkot, the Beis Hamikdash? What? Everybody, all I'm so deep. Can you imagine millions of people? Everybody carry a little again. What you have today in Sukkot to show us nothing to what it was. Everybody came, right? So the place was crazy. Everybody came with their korbanos. You know what's going on? So they did it already for the first end of the third night, at the third of the night, meaning earlier the chatzos. So if you know that it has to be chatzos, that's you do it. How do you make it earlier? We have chatzos. Says the Gemara, it says that you have the korban stays on the mizbeach the entire night till morning. Like we say by us, the entire night. So what? Until what? Until the morning. What do you mean? So I like that by the biker. 10 biker the bakar shalayla. Torah tells you no. Kol alayla, generally. But on a biker, you have another morning. Create another morning. Make morning early. He got kol yom every day. We pray together because you do it the entire night. So let the limbs burn the entire night. You got sagi. That's good enough because it says kol alayla. Mishum chulsh the kohen gadol, because of the weakness of kohen gadol. Mechatzois. You start already chatzois because I need to start the process early. Very golim. Then if fishy karbanos by the regolim, that you have so many karbanes. Had me also Yisrael mashmoy. So we show there's coming to Yisrael because Am is coming to be some English. They're coming early. Mashmoy. So we show you start from the first third of the night. How do we know the regolim was so busy? Kedektani Seifo lo yoiso kriyas together magas. They didn't kriyas together. Remember, it was kriyas together. Was this guy the veker woke up all the Kohanim before he came? Had shaisa azora meleyo misrael. Azora was packed. Abisol was already there. 3 o'clock in the morning. Place you can't move. Place back. Right? Lahavdil elef alve avdolis. Someone showed me a video. Havdil elef avdolis just to get a little touch. there is this golf course, very, very famous golf course. So where they play the tournaments, PGA, very close there. I forgot what it's called. So people, in order to get on the golf course, because they let, when you go to the PGA, they let people there, they stay the whole night there. They park the car from, at 5 o'clock in the afternoon until 3 o'clock in the morning to get in. That's it. So, I want to get my car, but anyway, I'm going to wait till I come late. Coming in the morning. The whole night, the night, the place was packed. Even the first pointed out. So, what do you mean? When we said that they closed the doors of the Azara, the doors of the Azara were closed the whole night. Says the Regalia, Amishul didn't allow the doors to close. No closing the doors. I'm going to be Samigdash. The place was packed. So the place was filled up. There was said, we need to go. So you know what happened? So they had to start earlier. Start somewhere. Then start Mashmari's Rishon. So you better something like this. The Torah tells you that you could do it at different times of the day. Because it says Kolalaylo, but then it says Adabayker, make a morning. So it depends. Chazal knew when to do it. Regular day, you do it like regular whole night. Comes Yom Kippur, you do it a little earlier. Regalim, much earlier. That's how you do it. What about the Chatzais thing? What about Chatzais? Okay, so we solved that issue. How do we know the whole night? But what about Chatzais? So look at Rashi. Rashi says, the first wide lines of Rashi. Rashi says, Rashi Ne'emar, Kloimar, Kroi Kederad Mitartz. It is true. Chatzais, not Chatzais. Ulashrein, the Chatzais, Oise Ikule Beshviri. Meaning that the hard meat becomes consumed in chatzos. The kinds of chatzos is b'chal hekter, and the chatzos ve'egrin amosadesh shemali. The araba b'mukolim legabre. Probably chatzos not very cold. Things are completely burned. I could do it earlier in the night, based on this puzzle. Things that are not completely burned, they are hard. So then you have chatzos. That's what Rashi learned. So these two things are correct. Chatzos is the time of the cutoff time for things which are semi-burned. Fully burned, you really can do it early in the night. That's what we said over here. So and that the Torah wants to say that maybe it argues that Torah wants to bring up shot, but maybe even that according to Rebbe, you never do before Chatzos. Rebbe said, Rav says, he argues, he holds Chatzos, before Chatzos, you can't do it. The Rebbe is the one who says, no, you could do it a little bit early. So the question is, Machlekes or not? That's just not Machlekes. Things that are fully cooked, then you could do it earlier. Things that are hard, you have the Chatzos cut off. That's the Gemara concludes. And with this, we will end our daf today. See you tomorrow, Be'ez Hashem. I hope tomorrow we'll be able to get in here. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm saying no. It's a beautiful avodah. Like the first second you wake up and you go to the basement.